Hi everyone. Thanks again for coming, all of you. I'm super excited to show you what we have been building at Anyshift and what thanks. And what we plan to do as well. Just like before starting, to present our team, I'm Roxanne, CEO and co-founder of Anyshift. I have an AI background. Before Anyshift, I was an AI researcher at Samsung R&D, doing research on neural networks and in a financial tech company, AI. And when I met my co-founder Stefan, he's the infra guy in our team, we were super excited to work together on AI infra-related issues. Stefan has been in the field as a sysadmin, SRE, DevOps for the last 20 years. He wrote a book about that, Infrastructure as Code Cookbook, in 2017, and sold his previous company to Snyk, the cybersecurity company, working on topics around infrastructure as graph, which is a topic that we work on at Anyshift today. And Arno, who just joined us, is our head of product. He's going to do the demo, and was the first PM at Squin, an app security company, which was acquired by Datadog. What we work on today and what we really focus on is how to deal with the complexity that cloud environments have become. With the rise of the cloud from single vendors environment to today, there's been a spread of tools, dozens of tools that are used today by companies, which has created some scattered context and siloed data, like in the company, which creates issues in terms of infrastructure management for DevOps and SRE teams in their day-to-day. How do you get information fast, especially during an incident where each minute counts, which is vital. This is even accelerated with AI today. Teams ship faster, and this pool gets even bigger. And so what we've been building on at Anyshift is on how we actually gather and structure this huge amount of data through a deep resource graph. This is really like our modes, our expertise, how we map your cloud environment, AWS, GCP, Azure, your Kubernetes clusters, your code base, infrastructure as code bases, application, monitoring host, and give it to Annie, our AI agents, with internal tools and external ones, which is composed of your observability data, like Grafana, Datadog, and internal knowledge, you name it. You can have Notion, Confluence, where you post your postmortems, Jira. How do you actually add to Annie the context it needs for resolution during an incident or for its day-to-day infrastructure management? On top of this base, of this first layer, we build a platform, Anyshift. Our first layer is Annie knowledge. We like to call it the perplexity of your infrastructure because of the granularity of the answer it provides when you ask any question to Annie, our chatbot. It helps engineering and DevOps team reduce support time and also streamline onboarding when you need to handle a huge amount of data between your cloud environments. Our second layer is Annie On Call that we recently released. How do you help on-call engineering team during an incident to gather the right data and make sense out of it? The last one that we are really excited about is Annie Auto Monitoring. Because we have the topology of the infrastructure, how cloud components are connected with each other and how they are monitored, we actually understand how your alerting system works. And this is something that we really focus on right now. And we'd love to have your feedback on it because teams today face either alert fatigue, you have too many alerts in production, that is actually part of the issue of like incident management, or like on the other side, they ship fast, they don't like to monitor, they have some missing data, that's an issue as well. Because we can make this link, this is the new product we are working on. Now that we have like a first layer of the presentation, let's go into the fun stuff things. Arno, if you want to do the live demo.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, my name is Arnaud. Thanks for making it today. It's always amazing to be able to gather so many people in a room like that. So the first demo we have is the knowledge base. So pretty standard use case where you can ask questions to any AI agent about everything in your infrastructure. So the main interface with Annie is Slack today, Microsoft Teams, or UI, but mostly interacting where you are. And so I will ask Annie, hey, Annie, can you describe the mission CTRL architecture and the components? So while Annie is thinking, let's go to the dashboard. So as Roxanne explained, our goal is ready to connect to everything in your infrastructure. So here we are connected to GitHub, your AWS account, but we are continuously scanning your Terraform states, your Terraform infrastructure as code, so the definition themselves, Datadog, your Kubernetes cluster, Slack, even like GitLab, everything like that could add that knowledge. And we are really trying to make sense. So now what Annie is really doing behind the scene here is exploring the graph to understand, A, what is mission control, what it knows about the architecture, the components, and give me a summary about that. So it's quite useful. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's quite useful for, say, newcomers, people who are investigating an incident, people who are working on different areas of the company. So it really gives you a gist of what's going on. Plus, all the links are very specific. So if I were to click on, let's say, this one, I should be landing on the website itself, the Rocket Banana Lab. Here, I don't know where I'm going to land, probably nowhere. Here, I will end up in AWS, right to the right resource. So I can, if I have access, see everything quickly. So yeah, it really tries to make sense of that knowledge. As Roxanne was explaining, it's also a time machine. So if you were to ask what changed recently in our infrastructure, you would have a pretty thorough vision of that. Then we have the second use case that goes pretty much hand in hand with it, which is the on-call. So here our job is to go from data alert. So we just got that alert on our front-end application, on the delivery endpoint, classic incidents. And so the first thing Annie is seeing is that this front-end service has the latency, which is the alert itself. And then immediately it can interrogate Datadog or any observability provider to get the logs and refine the investigation. So we understand that it's actually the delivery endpoint, which is slowing us down. Walking through the graph, we see there is another service connected to it in Kubernetes, another one called backend. We can check the log again. We can understand that it's actually the zip code endpoint, which is actually slowing us down. And investigating the configuration of the cluster, we can see that actually there is a zip code URL that looks like that look related to the zip code endpoint, and which is pointing to a proxy. Behind this proxy, we have two other services. One is internal, the other one is external. Looking at the logs again, we can see that there is a bit of flackiness. So we are getting errors from the internal, good responses from the external, and some throttling from the external. So probably we're around the path of the issue. And continuing walking the graph, we see that there is actually, a Redshift database where everything sounds healthy. So we're just checking in if the root cause could be around, but in this scenario, nothing bad happened. And so you have to imagine that Annie is doing that over different branches. It's drawing different hypotheses to understand what could be wrong. And so it rolls up everything and comes back with an idea where to look at, some hypotheses that it confirmed, some limitation it could not confirm from the context it has. And then that goes hand in hand with the first use case where you can really ask follow-up question to either dig deeper in some areas or have Annie do another investigation with more specific context. So really our goal is to be the first responder. Generally, you get all that flow done in a matter of minutes before anyone reaches the keyboard. And then it's really trying to shrink down the amount of time you're down. We have a guest today. It's called Andreas. He's a senior manager SRE at cloud.com. So if you're not familiar with cloud.com, they are the merger between Citrix and TIBCO. And we've been working together for the past few weeks. And it's Andreas is here to talk a bit more about the challenge we have attended and how he sees the opportunities with Anyshift. Andreas, let me just move you to the main screen.
Sounds good.
Can you move? You have to move the spotlight, but I don't know why.
I can try to add the spotlight.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not there in person. So, hello, remote from Willow Glen, San Jose, California. So.
Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Andreas, you're up. We can see you. So maybe give us a bit the context of what SRE means at cloud.com. What is the scope of your team? What is the portfolio of products that you are managing today?
Yeah, so as Arnaud explained briefly, I'm part of a cloud software group, which is a merge between TIBCO and Citrix. I came from Citrix in 2014, and I went through a nice little journey and became a SRE manager. And my job is to lead a small core SRE team member of 6 individuals to with a massive portfolio. And in that massive portfolio includes both TIBCO and Citrix products. So we got plethora of architectures. Primarily Azure and AWS is where we run our services. We also have some in the data center for very special use cases. We have dozens of tools, especially during this merge. One of the most difficult thing is standardization and simplification. So our current model is we have a core team under the operation business unit, which I'm part of, and we support the ever-growing business unit of TIBCO Citrix, and this company just acquired another company called Arctera. And so as you can imagine, there are dozens of tools and there are dozens of challenges. So what that means is there's a lot of complexity. So one of our biggest challenges is we're trying to standardize and simplify. So we have a lot of learning tools stemming from the cloud native tooling like Azure, AWS. We have open source like Zabbix. We have Elastic. We have Splunk. We have all these tooling. And as you can probably imagine, the amount of alerts and the kinds of alerts that have happened through this merge, and typically what happens through a merge is you have a lot of restructuring, as some of us are potentially aware, and it gets pretty ugly pretty quick. And so what we're trying to do is simplify our lives, because we don't want to be up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with a false positive. And we also want to figure out quickly what those issues are. So this is where I was lucky enough, I would say, to hear about Anyshift. I believe Roxanne reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, this looks really interesting. This is also new in the domain of AI-SRE agents. And the bottom line is I need to do more with less. I have to do more, I have to figure out things faster and do things faster with less resources. So from the few weeks that we've been working with Anyshift, one of the biggest aspects that we've seen is the simplification of root cause analysis, getting to an issue faster, opposed to hours or even days. We're able to get insight on the architecture of various different products much faster. So that's a very important aspect on the knowledge base portion. So the team and the company bases its expanding and contracting support model around bringing in contractors, and learning some of these architectures are extremely dense. And so that means that they have to get up to speed very quickly and handle layer 1 on call and layer 1 incidents immediately. And typical onboarding usually takes, depending on the service, between 4 to 6 weeks and even up to 3 months if you really want to be effective. And the way I've been working with Anyshift here, and leveraging some of their leveraging the ANI within our tool stack, we've noticed definite acceleration in being able to understand the architecture and the various components that are tied together to run the product. So it's been, from a knowledge-based perspective, it's been great. From a root cause analysis perspective, we do a lot of, there's a lot of incidents, let's, to put it simply. And incidents can span hours or days, depending on the complexity. And as with any incident, you have to debrief. Debrief is key to your success in the future. And debriefing means a lot of data collection. So you have to get all the timestamps, you have to get all the logs, you have to correlate and understand how that links together, so you write an effective postmortem, and you can have some retrospectives to make sure that the issue doesn't happen again. And that takes a lot of time. And so here's a tool where it allows you to streamline that and allows you to filter, to understand, first of all, what is the true root cause of the incident from all of these logs, these metrics, these traces that are being filtered in, and then what can we, and how do you compile that basically in an effective postmortem that you have to present to leadership and to your customers even. So so it's very effective on those aspects. I've not had the pleasure yet, I would say, of auto monitoring. That's I think that's something that's coming up, but I can definitely attest the potential, and also from experience, that the knowledge base and on-call is a fantastic tool set here to survive and even thrive in a corporate setting where you're expected to do more with less. So yeah, that is my that is my feedback. So on Anyshift.
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. I
So
think
much.
what was very shining to us in our conversation earlier this week is also the diversity of products you have to maintain with such a small team, and now the knowledge as you exposed. Like, how many products do you support again today?
So at the current moment, we support 5 products. Actually, my mistake. It has now expanded to 7, and it keeps expanding. So the model that we're building a centralized SRE team, and it takes time, with a multi-billion-dollar company. So it's going to expand into 15 or more. Citrix itself has multiple products under Citrix. So so at the current moment, it's 7. Arcterra is coming in. They itself have 3 products. We're probably going to strip out a few or not. We don't know. But it's an ever-expanding portfolio.
And you never worked on those products, right? They are very new to you.
Very new to me. I developed and built internal tools and was a data center engineer for many years. And I had the luxury of being asked to move in this position, and this was all new to me. So.
Maybe just a quick glimpse as well on where we are going. So we pitched that auto monitoring we'd keep for the very end. So I think we have the opportunity first and foremost to expand more in the incident life cycle. So today we're very focused on the root cause analysis. We think that's the basis of everything. But as Andreas just said, we could help with the postmortem better, writing it, tracking the next action and making sure they're executed, or even execute some of them if we could, or partner with other people or agents to have them done. There's obviously helping with the resolution itself. So today we might suggest actions to take, but that's a core area of focus where we need to expand. So overall, when you see where we could go, it's really the full life cycle of incident. Then the deeper integration. So it's, as I said, it's the core of our knowledge. So we need to be integrated with almost everything. Andreas just mentioned Azure. We are not connected to it right now. We can connect to Kubernetes cluster in Azure, but not all the rest of the resources. So we have some work there, other observability providers, and so on. And so finally, the auto monitoring, what we see and we'd love your feedback on is, so it's something that doesn't exist today. It's only in our mind. The idea we heard and we have is we have this knowledge to help you create, update, and delete monitors as the infrastructure and the application evolve. So as you push new code, as you see alerts rising, or alerts which might be outdated, so the threshold might be wrong, You might not looking at the right metrics and so on. We think that powered with the graph, we have the capability to manage that and help you reduce the noise. And when it triggers, it's really happening. So if that's something that sounds relevant to you, we'd love to understand. We are seeing a lot of good feedback on that. Like a lot of people are excited about fixing that issue at the core. So instead of having on-call engineers being pinged, like really fix the monitoring upstream. So we're quite excited about that. And that's all we have for today. Thanks again for joining us in person or online.